Hello and welcome, my name is Parky and today we're going to be doing another Spore Let's Create. And it's going to be another Pokemon because, again, I'm really into Pokemon at the moment. And why not? It's my childhood. So we're going to be taking a look at Hitmonlee. Now Hitmonlee is one of those Pokemon that as a child absolutely terrified me. I think the idea of having your eyes in your torso was always something very strange. And the sort of weird, inexplicable bands around his arms and legs, which are probably going to be really difficult to make in Spore. Let's get straight into it. So Hitmonlee has a sort of beefier upper body. Now obviously we don't have to worry about a head in this because Hitmonlee is, well, slightly headless. So let's go into making a sort of like beefier at the top and slightly coming in at the waistline. A little bit like this maybe a little bit smaller at the bottom, and then he sort of like has little legs sticking out to the sides, so he's got like a slightly bigger base. Something like this. I think what we want to do though is we're going to move this so it's a bit more up straight, because Hitmonlee, he's an athletic Pokemon. He's one of the trio of Lees, or Hitmons, I guess you could probably say. You've got Hitmonchan, Hitmonlee and Hitmontop, so it's actually more like the Hitmon family. Okay, so let's now just extend this out a little bit here. I think we're probably going to have to make it a little bit blobbier at the top, because he is proportionately a little bit more large up here, and then a little bit more at the bottom like this. I think that's probably a good shape. It seems reasonable, I guess. We can probably make this even one bigger, to be honest. Let's scale it up a little bit, because I feel like let's not do him any dishonour by making him too skinny. He's a beefcake, one of the beefcakes of the Pokemon world. Okay, so this is going to be his body shape, which is a little bit blobby, but I think it's going to help when we put the arms and legs on. So let's go straight for the arms. Now, Hitmonlee is the kicking Pokemon, Hitmonchan being the punching one, as he's got boxing gloves for hands, but we still want something that's fairly, like, beefcakey looking. So I think we're going to go for these, because they look quite strong. They've got a lot of upper body strength, even though he rarely uses it. That's what we want to go for. Okay, we're going to bring these down a little bit. Now, he does have, like, little muscular bicep area, but then his forearms are really skinny, so I'm thinking we go for something like this. I think that seems good. Maybe if we make these a little bit smaller and then proportionately bring it in like that, because obviously I think when they created Hitmonlee they wanted to create a Pokemon where it's obvious that his legs were bigger than his arms. So let's just bring these up. We're going to see if we can put him in a bit of a pose here. I'm going to try and match the picture that I've got in the top right hand corner. It might make him look a little bit derpy, but you know what? I don't care. He's going to be in a fighting stance, as all Hitmonlees should be. And I think we're going to bring this in like that, and then let's not try and make him look like he's dislocated his elbow, though, at the same time. It's got to be somewhat realistic. Come on now. Okay, I think that's pretty good, actually. And strangely enough, these hands are pretty damn close to the hands that he has. Now I'm wondering whether we need to make this a little bit longer, because he does have quite long forearms, but they're very skinny. Something like this. Okay, and let's make this one a little bit longer as well. Maybe shorten the bicep area slightly. I think that seems good. Something like this. Yeah, okay, that's sort of like a fighting hand stance. Seems pretty good. Now it's a shame that you can't actually give any hands that are already clasped together. But I suppose that's something that we can come back to. I don't think we've got many other options in here that I really like as much as these. He's got three sort of big blobby fingers in the Pokemon game, so, and the anime of course, and so I think that's probably as close as we're going to get, just the default grabbers. Okay, well that makes it a little bit easier, so let's now move on to the legs. Now the legs are obviously a big part of Hitmonlee. I think we're going to have to move this up a little bit to give him some more space. And I think again we're going to try and make these legs sort of into a bit of a shape so that it matches the image I'm using. So it looks like he's going to kick out, lash out at you at any moment. Okay, so I don't know what's on page 2 here. We've got some insectoid legs, but I don't think any of these are going to be particularly suitable. I mean, this banding here sort of replicates that Hitmonlee has, but I think it's too far-fetched to go for that. You see what I did there? Far-fetched. Joke. Okay, so let's carry on. I think probably the best one that we're going to get, he only has one knee like a human. Oh, this is really difficult actually, because it's sort of bendy all the way. The same sort of tubular shape all the way, and then just a foot on the bottom. So I'm thinking maybe this one would be the best. Although it does seem a little bit weird. Obviously we want to move this back a little bit. I think actually we want to make this bottom a little bit skinnier, like this. think that seems good. And then we'll move this more to the side. And then we need to make this attachment a little bit blobbier to make it look like his body... He's got big hips. He's like a very lustrous woman, Hitmonlee. I mean, that's not really what he's famous for, let's be honest. But, you know, I'm sure he would be a lovely lady. Maybe. Okay, now let's try and get his legs into some sort of position where it looks like he's going to kick you. So I think we're going to bring this one back like this. And then for this one, we're going to bring it... Oh, God. We're going to bring it... up a little bit like that, and then like this. Oh god! Okay, this is the perspective problem in Spore. It doesn't really work. And actually, I completely forgot that you can't bring legs off of the floor, can you? Which makes things a little bit more tricky. But I think if we go for something like... Oh god. Oh god, what have I done? Okay, I think we need to make him stand up a little bit straighter like this. This leg probably needs to be moved in a little bit more like that. And then I guess this leg's okay. It sort of looks like he's about to step back a little bit. He has got strangely bendy looking legs, so I suppose it's okay to have a little bit of weird, unnatural bending in there. Okay, I think that seems good. I mean, it looks a little bit more natural as a stance, what he's in. It looks like he's ready for a fight, so I think that's good. Maybe we'll just bring this foot over a little bit more, a bit more forward. Yeah, okay, I like this. But one thing that we do definitely need to change are the feet, because unlike the hands, he's got kind of horrific claw feet. Yeah, so we're going to go for something probably in this branch here. In the anime again, he has 3 toes, but they're all slightly like disturbing looking. They're all crushed together a bit like this, the 3-paw. Oh, did I only remove one from one of those feet? That's wrong, isn't it? Okay, so we're going to probably go for something like this. I'd like it if we can make them a little bit thinner, but it looks like you can only crush them outwards. Maybe... oh god, okay. Well, he has actually got quite big claws. We could go for something like this. Unfortunately, I think the game is now treating these legs as completely separate beings, separate entities, because I changed them a little bit earlier. But I guess that's okay, and we'll go for something like this. I think that looks pretty good. Now, on his foot as well... For some reason, he's got a sort of fairly noticeable yellow sort of orb, circle block thing. So we're going to put a little, I think, a knurl down on each one on the inside. And we're going to make it a little bit smaller like that. And I think that looks pretty good. So we're going to then repeat that on this side yet again, making it a little bit smaller towards the ankle. It's like a little ankle protector. It kind of makes sense if you think about the anatomy of this guy. And then what else have we got? There's no other major features aside from his face. And his face is only really his eyes. I'm going to see if I can do some sort of like decorative banding on his arms and legs. We might even be able to just do that with the paint mode. But for now, let's just grab these eyes and see if we can get any that look fairly right. Okay, so what are we going for here? He's just sort of got like 2 fairly angry looking eyes. Maybe something like these ones? The problem is we're not going to be able to get that sort of classic black eyeshadow that he has on. It's fabulous! I mean, he's got lovely legs and lovely eyeshadow. He's a makeup master. Okay, well, I think it's probably going to be these. I mean, this is just terrifying. But I think that's probably the closest. I'm sort of looking at it for reference. I suppose the only problem with this one that it does have sort of like lizard eyes. But we could go for, like, again, my favourite eyes, which are like the dude, I'm so high. I mean, it was 420 day, like last week, wasn't it? So, I mean, I suppose it is fairly apt. Okay, you know what, I think we're going to go for these ones because they're slightly squintier. I mean, they look like he's a bit shifty, like a ninja. And I always imagined him as a child, that the Hitmonlee and the Hitmonchan family were sort of more like the ninja kind of class of Pokemon. I have no idea what I'm on about, but I think that looks pretty good. I mean, his eyes are slightly bigger than this, so let's just move them a little bit like this, and we're going to rotate them down like that. I think that looks pretty good, so let's now move on to the paint mode. God knows how this Pokemon creature is going to move about in Spore, but we're going to soon find out. Now, the main part of his body is brown, and I think this is probably going to be a good one. Is he furry? I'm not sure if he's like a furry in real life. That's completely different, but I don't know whether he's got like a furry torso. I kind of imagine it would be. I mean, what else would a real-life Hitmonchan or Hitmonlee look like? I guess they'd have fairly leathery skin if it wasn't like this. We could just go for a smoother brown, just to be more accurate to the game, I suppose. Where are we going to find a brown? I mean, that's slightly too dark. Is brown going to be in orange? I guess it is sort of a shade of orange. 50 shades of every colour! Oh yeah! Okay, it's probably a little bit brighter than this as well, so let's just go for this one. Maybe slightly darker. It's the worst thing in this game, trying to find a colour that actually matches. I think that's actually pretty close, so we're going to stick with this. Okay, so let's now go for the highlights on his arms and legs. Now, this is probably going to give us a good indication. If we can find one which has just a pattern on the leg area, that would be good, because then it would probably just target those areas instead of his body. And we kind of want one that has a bit of a brighter sort of like a beige colour. If we go for something like this, I think it's going to be an incorrect colour, although that looks amazing. Especially with the introduction of all like the Alolan form Pokemon and stuff like that. It kind of makes me want to just leave it like that, but it's not accurate. Maybe something like this? That's not quite right either, is it? Oh, what a shame. I wonder if any of these would be suitable. That's kind of not right either. There's no obvious ones here. No. This is what we want. Okay, so the detail. I was in the completely wrong tab, you know. Oh, this is almost perfect, this one. Look at that. Okay, well, if we can find one that kind of looks like a load of bands instead. Sort of like rings. Are there any ringy ones? Ringy ones. Maybe these ones? Kind of. I mean, that's sort of closer. Let's have a look on the third page here. I don't think there's going to be anything particularly closer than that. Maybe these. Actually, I mean, they make him look a little bit muscly. Let's just try it in the correct colour, though, because this might look okay. So if we go for something a little bit like this... yeah. I mean, you can sort of see it. I'm wondering actually whether any... look, stripes. This might look good. Yeah, okay, I kind of like that. I mean, it's not filling in all of his arms and leg spaces, but I think it's probably the closest you're going to get. Okay, well, that's pretty damn close. And what a simple build, actually. I think what we need to do now is just name this guy Hitmonlee. He ruined my childhood with his terrifying face. Okay, let's give him a little test ride. This is always the worst bit that I really don't look forward to, is just seeing how these guys are going to move about. But let's just give it a go, shall we? Let's move him towards the camera. Oh. Not totally ridiculous. I'm actually okay with that. I mean, he's not the most speedy of characters, it has to be said, but you could change that by giving him different attributes from the parts you put on him. But I think for the sake of actually getting it as close as possible to what Hitmonlee actually looks like, we've done a pretty damn good job considering that this is vanilla Spore. Well, if you enjoyed today's episode and want to see more Spore creature creations, then all you have to do is leave a like or any form of rating down below. Also leave a comment suggesting other Pokemon or other things that I could build in Spore creations next time, and subscribe if you haven't done so already. Thank you for watching. Goodbye. Awkward, goodbye. Awkward.